Hey everybody, your friend Crab is here with another great video, and today's topic is about the worst weapon from each of the Mega Man games. Remember, this list is completely opinionated, so without further ado, let's get started. Super R. Why it's called Super R? Well, you can use it to lift heavy blocks with it, and it's pretty strong too, but the problem is that there is a little amount of blocks in Mega Man 1, as when you use the super arm, it's kinda awkward using it. Why using super arm while you have other weapons that are better than it? Fun fact, super arm isn't the only weapon that can clear blocks. Thunder Beam can do that as well, so I actually find super arm useless whatsoever. Time Stopper. This weapon is just useless. You can just use it once and that's it. Well, if you will make a weapon that has a one use, so at least make it deadly. But no, that's a thing that is not featured in Time Stopper. Well, you can just use it to freeze time and move freely as you want while everything and every enemy is frozen. But you can't even shoot anything, which it sucks very badly. The only usage I can find for Time Stopper is using it in the laser section of Quickman's stage. But you will eventually need it for the Robot Master himself, if you want to battle him easily. So that sucks more, probably a useless weapon. Spark Shock. Like, are you serious? Spark Shock doesn't even do a single damage to an enemy. Literally, it deals 0 damage whatsoever. It's only good against Magnet Man and Wily's first form. That's it. And why you even try to use it on enemies? Since you have other variety of weapons, Spark Shock doesn't even do anything besides freezing enemies. But I think you really don't want to freeze them since you have a homing weapon to finish things up and a blade to do the same thing. So why even bother using Spark Shock? It's useless. Well, Dust Crusher isn't that bad, but for me the other weapons really beat this weapon, even Skull Barrier. I mean, Dust Crusher is just a pile of trash that sprayed into 4 pieces of junk on contact. Well, yes, it seems good, but I don't know, the others are much better, and you can even use the Buster Shot instead of the Dust Crusher if you want to deal a good damage from a distance or use the Fair Shot. Overall, a good weapon but not that effective. Barstoon is just bad in every way possible. Well, it can get useful in rare situations, but that doesn't change anything literally. And why it's called Power Stone? Well, when you hear that, you will of course think that it's powerful, but how ironic, it's not. The Power Stone is weak. Well, I would have no problem with it if it was only slightly more powerful, but it's not, for unfortunate, it's just awkward and weak. Overall, a pretty sucky weapon. Mega Man 6 has a decent amount of weapons, but when it comes to a shield weapon, so it sucks a bit. Blind Barrier, as you heard earlier, it sucks. It's rarely usable throughout the game, like literally the only use I can think of is against Tomahawk Man, because he's hard as nuts. Besides that, I can't think of other usage, but maybe like blocking projectiles if you need to. But Mega Man 6, like, isn't a bad design game to use a shield for. but it's really big for using a combat weapon like Night Crusher, Silver Tomahawk, Commando Spear, you guessed it, but not a shield weapon. Well, if you played MegaMan V on Game Boy, so you know this one is coming. Deep Digger is just meh. It's basically super arm. However, if I would compare the two weapons, I would actually say that the Deep Digger is better than the super arm. You lift a block that you can throw in a straight line, not an upward arc like super arm, that's spread into small pieces of rocks for more variety of attack. But that doesn't mean that it's good in its game. Like Super Arm, Deep Digger is rarely usable. There is some blocks in Mega Man V, but you don't bother even use Deep Digger to lift them because you have much better weapons to use. The only good use for it is against Terra, where his arena is full of blocks, as that's his weakness as well. But it's not a good weapon overall. Freeze Cracker, well, it's bad. Yes, it's a sprayed weapon, but it only sprayed on contact. So what if you want to just attack an enemy right away? Will you just wait to spray it? I mean, yes, you can still wait or shoot it in a straight line, but it's pretty weak. The Scorch Wheel that everyone seems to hate is much powerful than Freeze Cracker if you just know how to use it properly. But Freeze Cracker, if you know how to use it or not, is still weak. But when it comes to Robot Masters, so honestly Freeze Cracker is better to use against like Slashman, because Slashman has two weaknesses, which are Scorch Wheel and Freeze Cracker, and these are Burstman's weaknesses as well. But that doesn't change anything about Freeze Cracker for me, that is. Water Balloon isn't that bad. It's not that much good either. It's like a spammable buster shot but in arc and low way. So why even bother using it, and you have your trusty Mega Buster and the other weapons. You can even upgrade your Mega Buster for more devastating and variety of attacking in Mega Man 8. So again, why bother yourself using Water Balloon? It's not even a problem if you didn't use it against Swordman because he is easy. Overall, not that good weapon. Well, what do we have here? A boomerang weapon. Well, if you guys watch my past weapons video, so you know that I love boomerang weapons. But honestly, this one is actually kinda bad. Well, don't get me wrong, it's still kinda useful, but honestly, the other weapons are better. Magic Card is weak. You can use it upward and forward, but it's still weak. But not that bad, I should say. Well, we have a pretty decent weapons in Mega Man 9, but Block Ball, well, it's not that good. Well, yes, I like Scramble Thunder because they are basically the same weapon and the same type, but there are major differences. Like, for instance, Block Ball is fast and Scramble Thunder is kinda slow. Block Ball can be split into two bolts, but Scramble Thunder can't. And Scramble Thunder can be shooted upward, but Block Ball can't. So Scramble Thunder is way better than Block Ball in every way. Block Ball is just weak, you know, and the other weapons are way better than it in every way. Well, I guess you know why, but I will say it anyway. The weapon is awkward to use, like you just shout a cloud above and it just strikes thunder in a single spot. It doesn't at least split its thunder on the ground, it's just meh. Well, it can be useful if you know how to use it though. The weapons from MegaMan 11 are just awesome and not bad, but Chain Blast is the worst for me, at least. With detonation or without it, it's still not good. It takes some time to stick to an enemy, so why bothering yourself since you have other weapons that do the job at once. Well, the Power Gear version is pretty much awesome, but this just gives some points to the weapon. But it's still the worst for me because the others, as I said, are better. Now I will mention a weapon from a set of Robot Masters, and these are the MegaMan Killer, or actually in that case, the side antagonist from the Game Boy MegaMan games. And by that I mean Quint and his weapon Sakugarne. Sakugarne is pointless, you get it pretty late in the game as it's awkward using it and it runs out so quickly, so why bothering yourself using it anyway? Anyway, I will leave you guys with the bonuses now.